this meeting to order. Roll call. Present. Present.
Here.
Here. Okay, thank you. Would you all stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Garcia is here.
Commissioners, Mayor, in behalf of the Liberal Ministerial Alliance, I thank you for the privilege to come and to pray with you tonight. I would ask if everyone would just bow your head in reverence to the Lord and let us pray. Father God, we thank you for this day and for the privilege to come and to pray for our mayor, our commissioners, our city manager, and staff. And Father God, I think of our employees in the city at this time. We hold up our police department, our law enforcement and first responders, and Father God, we think of our fire department during this time. I pray for each commissioner tonight for the support and the wisdom and the reassurance and the safety from the community as they work to accomplish their duties and serve in our city and community. Father God, they work to make our community a safe and a healthy place to live in. And tonight I pray for each one of you with thankfulness for sharing your time, your wisdom, and a heart of service in serving our city and community. Tonight, Father God, I pray for community support as each one of our commissioners serve our city and our community and to the best of their ability. Tonight, Father God, I pray for wisdom as they seek to accomplish the duties that they have to perform. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you very much. Okay, item number 1 is awards, proclamations, and presentations. And I think we have one of the above.
Thank you, Mayor Parsons. Commissioners, my name is Katie Miller. I'm with Kansas Municipal Utilities. Thank you for having me here tonight. It's just an honor and a pleasure of mine to not only be here with you, but to present a very prestigious award to one of your fantastic staff members. For those of you who may not be familiar, really quickly, Kansas Municipal Utilities, we're a not-for-profit organization housed out of McPherson, but our sole mission in life is to support all publicly owned utilities across the state: water, wastewater, gas, stormwater, and telecom. I work just with the water and wastewater operations. My primary role is delivering continuing education training to your water and your wastewater professionals. One of the things I want to mention is, just like police and fire's requirements to have continuing education hours, just like teachers, doctors, attorneys, anybody else, federal law requires your water and your wastewater utility operators to have the same. Liberal is fortunate to have several advanced certified water and wastewater operators. You are unique. You are blessed to have this level of professionalism, taking care of, arguably, I'm biased, the most essential services in your city. Your city cannot function without potable water. It cannot function without wastewater services. At Kansas Municipal Utilities, we had the honor of presenting awards to very deserving individuals this year at our conference in April in Wichita. So out of 900 public water supplies in the state of Kansas, we chose the #1 operator that was deserving of the Water Operator of the Year award, who is from Liberal. That is not something to take lightly. There are a lot of fantastic operators, from the very smallest of the cities to the largest of the Kansas City BPUs of the world. Yet, Jose Rosales from Liberal was chosen. He was presented this award in front of 300 of his peers in the city of Wichita. And if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to read the comments that we read in Wichita, so please bear with me. Jose Rosales Jr., currently the Director of Utilities for the City of Liberal. He's a Class 4 water treatment operator, and he's been doing so for more than 22 years. Class 4 operations certification is not an easy feat to achieve. He also holds a Class 1 wastewater certification. He's served on the Cimarron Regional Advisory Committee member for the public water supply. That is appointed through the governor, representing your portion of the state to be in conversations of your water resources with the rest of the state. He's also a graduate of KMU's Municipal Utility Management Program, and he's been a very active participant in many different industry programs, conferences, and opportunities throughout the state. Jose has overseen his team's growth individually and has been an integral, encouraging push to the entire City of Liberal workforce. He's guided his crew through line repairs, troubleshooting, and the daily operations associated with the water operations of the city, all while encouraging his team members to educate themselves, pursue their certifications and their goals within their department, because it's certified, but also because that's what a good leader does. He has sought after training, classes, and studied with guides himself. His dedication to his staff is evident. His leadership is evident. His team strives to be the best possible water operators under his continuous encouragement. He allows the time and patience for his crew to get their hands dirty and experience the learning process of water operations. His crew walks as a team, and when it's time to work, they always leave the yard prepared for their daily tasks, whatever that may be. One of Jose's team members shared this thought: to be a successful director, you need your team to feel safe, appreciated, and respected. We feel those things. We learn, we laugh, and we work as a team. That, Jose, is the true definition of leadership. I am so pleased and honored to be extending this award to such a deserving individual in the state of Kansas. Please join me in congratulating my friend, Jose Rosales Jr., as the recipient of KMU's 2022 Water Operator of the Year Award. Would you join me? Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations, Jose. Okay, item number two, sorry. Approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as printed.
All right, Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Thank you very much.
Ron is on his way.
Okay, all right, good. Item number 3, minutes. We have two sets of minutes to approve tonight, and I think Alicia has a,
On the June 14th, 2002 minutes, the header is incorrect, so we need to change that from May 10th to read June 14th.
okay.
Make a motion for all of them together, or you want separate?
That's fine. We can make it all together with the amended minutes for the June 14th.
I make a motion to approve the May 24th, 2022 regular meeting minutes, the June 14th, 2022 regular meeting minutes as amended, and the June 22nd, 2022 work session minutes.
Second. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Thank you very much. Passes 4-0. Okay, item number 4, items from citizens. Have any citizens that would like to speak? Yes. I won't go through the whole big thing. If you state your name and your address, you can just get started, Rita.
Still Rita Isaacs, still live at 406 Princeton. Basically have the same complaints, basically, little more, little less. I came a couple of weeks ago about the condition of the codes being enforced or not. I have to say the house catty corner across the street did get a partial mowing. I was real excited until I came back and found they had put all the little tree limbs in the middle of the driveway and left them. I'll go pull them out to the street. If somebody will pick them up, I'll pull them out the street and get rid of it. A couple of the houses have partially mowed their yard in the last couple of days. I certainly appreciate that. The 2 houses on the corner still have high weeds, and one still has parking in the yard with just a little white gravel on the bottom. In the 600 block, there's still 2 houses, 6, 1 car, 5 pickups, bang, 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 in the yard. the only driveway for 1.5, whatever, still in the yard. That hadn't been taken care of. Was told before that you got the time limit. You have to give them warnings. We've gone through this before. You give them a little warning, they know they've got so long, and they'll put it off and put it off. They don't have to do anything. It's all against the code, you know. Trying to make it look nice, you got to take care of that. Money, I suggested once before, that we hire some teenagers if they want to work anymore. And he said, well, that's a lot of money, and we need those mowers and things. If you were to charge the landowner, homeowner, on their water bill, they would have to pay that. Because there is a code, and if I remember right, the weeds cannot be over, or the grass over 14 inches, way above it. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. It just keeps on going and going. So I would like to have that taken care of. And that does bother me. And I'll help, you know. For the first time, I'm having my own yard mowed, but I'll go help do something else. If you guys need some help, just let me know, or I'll find somebody else that can help me. There's everybody around. The other thing is, well, 15th Street. I was told last night they removed the little orange flags, and I was so excited. Well, the orange flags are still there. I would like to know, if you have a record, how many vehicles have gone on that street since this came up with your little orange flags? Anybody know?
We don't have a traffic count, no.
Anybody know how many tickets have been issued for speeding? How many accidents since then?
We-
Have you,
We can get that information to you, we just don't have it right here in front of us. Because we know how many.
well,
tickets, how
everybody
many
would like to
accidents.
know, not just me standing up here. I have seen 2 people in all this time that actually followed that 20, and they darn near got rear-ended. I'm saying it again. If you're old enough to drive, you're old enough to follow the speed limit. There are going to be accidents. I don't care who it is or how old you are. Get us back where responsible people can be held accountable.
Rita, we changed that back.
You do what,
We
Brad?
changed it back to.
It's 30 up there.
Okay.
The flags are still up, but it is now 30.
Okay.
But now it is 30 all of 15th Street, the whole way.
Okay, it wasn't when I came up. Thank you. We'll get that taken care of. The South Middle School, and I know we just had a little talk up here. When I was questioning the fact that we could afford it or not, I was offered a personal tour around the whole thing like that. Anybody know how many square feet in the building? How many is being utilized? What are the lights, gas, and water? What is the upkeep on the lawns? What about the field over there? Can we use that for a soccer field? What are we doing to bring money in to help pay for this? This is not free. Somebody's paying lights, gas, water, plus the people to run it. I'd kind of like to know what's going on. Can we really afford it? I said in the beginning we couldn't, but enough, I know my time's up. Anyway, I would like to have some answers for that. And I'd be willing to work with somebody. If you guys need somebody in the yard and you can't afford to have it mowed, I'll pay for it. We'll find somebody, because the yards around here are horrible. And Brad, again, thanks for the park.
All right, any other citizens like to come address the commission? All right, items from groups. We have any groups that would like to address the commission? All right, item number 6 is the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as printed.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on any of that? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, thank you. We got 5 now.
Sorry for being late.
Oh, We're glad,
Time gets away
we're
sometimes.
glad you're here.
Not very often, but it does.
All right, item number 7, resolution 2377, the 2022 fee structure.
Yes, Resolution 2377 contains the proposed changes to the City of Liberal Code Book Exhibit C fee schedule. We did get with staff, and they provided their recommendations. The main changes so far are Article 2, the animal control section. It does look like we took a bunch of information out, but actually what we did is reword it to how they recommended it reads, so it flows better. Article 6 in the building and structure code, the fees were updated. Article 12 in the recreation section, the fees were updated, and robotics and Griff Golf were added. And then on the last page, the map prices were updated, and that section was cleaned up.
Now, we'll address these again.
Yes, we will bring it back to the commission maybe late November or the first meeting in December for any changes for 2023. And that will include hopefully updated sections of the code and more in-depth changes.
So these fees would go into effect,
As soon as you guys pass, so starting tomorrow. And that's why we didn't want to do anything major in the middle of the year.
Yeah, for the most part, they stayed the same with just, I didn't see anything that was just super major change. Just the restructuring part in the building and on the animal control.
well, I move we approve resolution 2377.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? We anticipating any major changes in December?
I'm not sure, and if we do have any, we'll let you know ahead of time. We'll kind of get with you guys and see if there's something that we need to put together a work session.
Okay. Okay. All right, all those in favor? Okay, 5-0, thank you very much. Item number 8, ARPA funds.
All right, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, last week, for those who don't know, we met in work session here for about 2 hours. And I'll tell you, to the commission, the staff was very appreciative of your time, your feedback, and your attentiveness. So just for, there've been no changes since we talked last week, but just for the public, we'll run through really quickly the items recommended by staff for approval to the commission. And it's important to understand, these are only allocations. These are not approval of individual items. That'll come later. Right now, we just wanted to put forth a plan for the implementation of the ARPA funds. Okay. Upgrade to finance software in the amount of $180,000. The first cut of that, you'll vote on later tonight. There'll be some additives that we want to throw in there later after we do some more evaluation, but for right now, we'll leave the $180,000 allocation. Second is an upgrade to the meeting software that we use for the commission meeting. Third is probably one of the most needed items on the agenda, and it's the online compilation of our code book. So it allows anybody, anywhere to go to the city's website. You can look up the city code, not only here, but you can look up other cities that are also a part of Muni Code. It enables us to compare and contrast our policies with other cities' policies. And, as I told you last week, I thought every city had this. So we're about 20 years late to the game on getting this done. But at the July 12th meeting, we'll have a hard quote for you to move forward with that. The next is probably, excuse me, I skipped one. Fourth is housing and development. This is a $400,000 commitment that the commission is making to improve housing and new housing development within Liberal. I do think we have a different funding source for this that we'll bring up later, but for right now, we'll use it, the ARPA funds as the placeholder for this. If you remember, back earlier, we had committed money as a match to the base grant. The base grant wasn't approved, so this is essentially replacing that with that.
And I know there's a small possibility those base grants could still be approved, so this would still serve as that placeholder
Yeah, that,
in the meantime.
Next is probably the most important on the list. The school district did it, I believe the hospital did it, the county did it, but this is $1,000 premium COVID pay for every full-time employee. Now, our numbers ebb and flow between 220 and 225. I think currently we're at 223 full-time employees. As I stated before, I'm under contract, so I don't apply, so we'll pay the 222 full-time employees a one-time $1,000 hazard pay, premium pay, whatever you want to call it, at the end of July. The golf course is operating on two 20-year-old mowers with well over 6,000 hours. And the important thing with that is we've got to get that to you soon, because if we order it in July, we will get it maybe in April if we're lucky. The IT you approved last time. The police department, bless their heart, they have labored and they have fought through some pretty challenging times, and the commission was very gracious and approved almost $800,000 in equipment that is either antiquated, outdated, or missing from the department. So this is just a true boost to what the fellows are used to, and every comment I've got from anybody that I've told that to is just absolutely grateful to you guys for that. Down to communications. So communications submitted a grant for ARPA funds to the county in the amount of $680,000 because they didn't know if we were going to participate in that. This would be to move the communications from the second floor, which is a really kind of tough spot for them, out into a different building. So right now, we typically split everything with the county on communications 50-50 or 60-40. So this is another commitment item that we're showing that we're willing to go in and do our portion to make sure the communications is running optimally. The Parks Department is looking at 2 new mowers and about 6 edgers, 2 badly needed traffic signals on Western and on Pershing are past their life cycle, and we've allocated $68,000 for those. The street department is in need of some additional equipment. This infrared asphalt recycler enables them to kind of cut costs and do the projects faster. The sewer plant for the new, they need a forklift. With the one they have is not sufficient to lift the bins that are included in the new engineering design at the sewer plant. What we have is insufficient, and instead of adding that into the loan and paying for it 3 times through interest, we put it into ARPA. There's a training allowance in there, and this will be kind of first come, first serve across the city to supplement training that we have either not been able to take or we couldn't afford in the last few years. We've already funded the $200,000 in broadband, and that leaves us with about $375,000 that we're going to hold on to for about 6 months until we do a second round of funding. And kind of given what we think is going to happen, so this number is going to grow. And so the city was allocated $2.9 million, and this is the allocation the staff is recommending.
I know we had a chance to discuss these as we went through the list last time. Any questions that have cropped up or concerns that have cropped up since then? We approve this as just a consensus,
Just
and then we'll address all these.
individually to purchase them, but you can approve this as outlined in the spreadsheet as the allocation of ARPA funds that's set out within that document. And then we'll, like I said, we'll address each one individually when you're going to approve the purchase of those items.
I'll make a motion that we approve this document as an outline for the expenditures for the ARPA funds.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? All right, all those in favor? Thank you very much. Thank you, Rusty. Okay, item number 9, software upgrade for the finance department. Chris?
Right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Commissioners, you have before you the item that we discussed last week that was included on the last list. This is a upgrade, municipal software upgrade for the city, and that would include our finance and accounting, budgeting, payroll, and utility billing functions. We're currently paying support fees, annual support fees in the amount of $75,000 per year. Last week when we talked, we only had one quote from CIC, but we did obtain a quote from our current provider for their upgrade. The CIC quote totals $164,800, and the Central Square quote, which is the company we currently use, their quote totals $493,980. Now, both of these amounts include the first year of support, and of course, the CIC maintenance would be $27,055 per year after, and the Central Square quote would be $101,480 for maintenance each year thereafter. So, city staff would recommend commission consideration for the purchase of CIC software and to allow city manager Ornato and assistant city manager Ford to enter into a contract with CIC for the purchase of their software in an amount not to exceed $180,000 to be funded with ARPA funds.
So we're saving about 50 grand a year on service.
fees.
We get an improved product, so our break-even point is about 3.5 years compared to what we had. And honestly, I don't have sticker shock much anymore, but when I saw that 492,000, I almost fell out of the chair, compared to the 164,000 that CIC is.
So for more than double the money, 2.5 times, what, is it 2.5 times better? The other bid?
Well, I guess the advantage of the other bid, that's what the city basically began using in 1996.
Right.
There are a few more options in the higher price quote, but yet at the same time, we don't feel it's worthwhile of the difference in price. Both options would actually give us more flexibility and more workability to work with the software to provide better reporting for financial state monthly information for the commission, and to have more of an idea of a up-to-date information to be accessed more frequently. The current software actually has a lot of information in it, but it takes a great effort to actually construct a report that you're able to get the output out in the format that you want. And it doesn't seem like we have a lot of extra time to take to design reports. And, if the format's already there, if we can just pull it up or import it to Excel or CSV file or something like that, it's much more workable.
And CIC can do that, the faster reporting.
Yeah, we're talking like 4 clicks to get the report you want versus
Creating a
a
whole
master's
new-
degree in IT to get everything that you want. Plus, what's really handy is we can enable read-only access to the department, so they can pull up just their budget and they can see what they've expended, what they've got left, and kind of help them with decision-making. Where this, we can't give read-only access to individuals like that, so.
And one other very important consideration is our current software is housed on the IBM AS400 server. We've had to upgrade those in the past, and Commissioner Warren probably remembers several times of those servers are very, very costly whenever we have to go to upgrade those. And we've been trying to find a way to go to a Windows-based server, and after consultation with IT, you know, it's very gonna prove, I guess, more advantageous to have a window-based program or window-based function on that type of server and much less costly in the future for hardware concerns. So, you know, but that is a very important consideration because, you know, when you get those $75,000, $80,000 server quotes, and I'd hate to think what they are now, probably, I'm guessing over 100,000 just for one server. And of course, that's whenever we need support that's very complex, that, you know, we have to schedule an out-of-town service person to come and do the work, and so, you know,
Cheaper and more user-friendly.
Yes, it is. So
Okay.
that is the staff's recommendation.
I'll make a motion that we approve the purchase of the CIC software in an amount not to exceed $180,000 to be funded with the ARPA funds, and allow city manager and assistant city manager to sign an agreement. We needed that in the motion.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any other questions or discussion? How long to,
About 6 weeks.
6 weeks?
Yeah. Our renewal is August, so they've been very gracious, and they accelerated not only the demo, but the quotes and also the implementation. And then there'll be some additional training afterward, but 6 weeks was the kind of the target time frame from when we signed to when we're going.
Yeah, and speaking with the rep, she did tell me today that once we approve the concept, they'll immediately start on the contract, and that is something that we will have the city attorney review for us and make sure that everything is appropriate.
okay? Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor? Okay, great. Thank you, Chris. All right, item number 10, Greer House roof repairs.
So, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, you're all much more familiar with this building than I am, but essentially, the Greer House received a $90,000 grant. A portion of that would go to refinishing the roof. The city would be responsible for the other half. We do have some interest in renting that facility, kind of long-term lease through a couple of businesses, but they can't do it until the roof is repaired. So the overall quote, we only received one, was from Southwest Roofing in the amount of $134,479. The city's portion is just over $67,000. So the remainder of that would be funded through the grant. Our portion would be funded through the Housing and Community Development 1 cent sales tax portion. And so we do have additional work we want to do in the building, so there'll be some additional funds from grant money for that. And that includes like paint and flooring and a few other beautification items. But depending on any questions you have, we would recommend approval of the bid from Southwest Roofing.
I did notice on here that although we got one bid, the list of companies that were solicited for bids, there's probably 20 companies on here that were solicited for bids, and we only got one. So thanks to Southwest Roofing for stepping up and bidding. Ron, you're the constructionist.
I was reading through their quote. I guess I hadn't got there yet, and I was.
All I know is tile's
Yeah.
expensive.
I'm
Yeah,
just
well,
glad
that stuff is
somebody's
too.
doing it. That I'm not doing it. I don't want to climb up there.
We were fortunate because he did another project, I think in Meade or Plains or so, Elkhart, would use the same tiles, and whatever he didn't use from that job, he's gonna apply to this one and generate some cost savings for us.
That's what I was gonna say, from the looks of it, because we have to use the Spanish clay tile, that price does not seem far from acceptable, from what I've seen on roofing.
Yeah, and he's given us a 5-year warranty on this.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah,
As opposed to, I think, 3 is
3 is
standard.
standard, yeah, so.
And I don't know how much bad fascia is there, but replacing bad fascia too, so that's a nice thing.
Yeah. Won't be probably completely watertight, but it'll be a lot more watertight than it is now, that's for sure.
And on that list, it does look, I think I read here that we at least sent out 15 mailers to the local ones. Oh, no, 25, sorry. 25 to.
And they did
all
their
the
due
contractors.
diligence to get as many bids as possible, and he was the only one that replied, so.
And at least he's local too, so.
Yes. Yes.
We need a motion to accept the grant, or is that already done?
The grant's already done.
Yeah, grant's
Grant's
accepted.
already done.
So just, we need a motion to accept the bid.
I make a motion to accept the bid from Southwest Roofing for the amount of $134,479.
I'll second.
Okay.
Yeah, with the, balance to be paid.
Balance to be paid with the
1 cent.
sales tax.
All right.
Sorry.
So we have a motion and a second. Jeanette, you agree
Yeah.
with the little change he made there?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Any further discussion?
I will be abstaining. They are one of my clients. Will that have any effect in it? I'll abstain.
Just abstain. so you
Yeah.
can answer. There you go.
All right, all those in favor? Okay, motion approves 4-0 with 1 abstention. Okay, item number 11, airport fence repair. Brian. You always have good news for us.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. Come to you tonight. We had a storm last year, I want to say June, about this time last year. The wind blew the roof off the airport fire station, but it also blew a Connex container into the fence. It's the old fence, it's not the new fence, so it's not going to be as major of a repair. And it flattened it. We tried to go with insurance, but we never heard back from insurance. So what it is it's 200 feet of fence that needs repaired. If you look at the quotes, Superior Fence was the lowest, about $12,606, but in his quote, he didn't put the barbed wire, and it's got to have the 3-strand barbed wire on top. The next closest would be Proscapes, at $16,900, and he does have the barbed wire in there, but he does show that he wants 50% down, and then, so, and I don't think we can do that, but.
So I have told them that unless it's an extraordinary circumstance, we're gonna stop prepaying for items. We do that way too often, and we've been bitten kind of substantially this year. We did a massive prepayment on March or April, and that still hasn't been finished. So it's not optimal what he's about to propose because of the price difference, but just for the sake of good business practice for a municipality, we're gonna go ahead. I'll let you make the recommendation.
Okay. I do recommend that we go with Superior Fence, but I don't, with the
But
barbed
we
wire
don't have a number yet?
on the barbed wire.
Yeah.
No, I don't yet. It was just brought to my attention this afternoon. So, and I could have that probably by tomorrow.
So, I mean, as long as it's within $1,000 or so, we didn't think that it was a big deal.
Yeah, it shouldn't be.
I mean, it's barbed wire, it's not
Well, if
massive
we're,
material,
well, then I
so.
was thinking if we're gonna ask him to add the barbed wire to the bid, maybe we should ask Proscapes if they'll, disregard the 50% down
Have you
I can
had-
do that.
and see,
Okay.
because to me.
I thought we'd already had that discussion, I'm sorry.
Okay, because to me, if we were, maybe, and I know there's no golden rule or this or that, but if you were gonna do within 10% of the local, I mean, I'm always in favor of that. I usually have to stay away from that, because that's usually, I'm involved in that, but this one I'm not. And I think it's a good practice. We had that discussion one time, and it was on a job that I got, but all our money that we got paid stayed local
Which
instead
is-
of going somewhere else. So there's a benefit to, it's worth at least 10%.
And everywhere I've ever been, 10% was kind of the threshold. If the local bid was within that, we would grant that. It's just the.
But I mean, if we have an incomplete bid, I just soon know what the bid is and then go ahead and ask, tell them that it is a sticking point of paying any down, that we can, our money's good when the job's done. Because this size of a job, it's not a very big job for you don't need down payment from the city on a job this size. I agree with that.
So, do we have a timeline, a deadline that we have to have this done?
No.
Okay.
No, we've been, we have to do extra checks just because the fence is down, but other than that, it's not,
Obviously, we've been doing those for a year, right?
yeah.
So can we just table this till the next meeting and then
No, we'll
revisit
I'll get
this?
new quotes and everything.
You could just say no action taken, so then you can just have it on the
All right.
agenda next.
Okay.
That works.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Brian.
you.
Okay, item number 12, municipal court vehicle purchase. Saw Kim. Hey, Kim.
Good evening, Mayor Parsons, Vice Mayor Linenbroker, Commissioners. I'm here tonight to request a municipal court vehicle purchase. I'll give you a little rundown right now. The vehicle that the court officers are currently using is a vehicle that is over 20 years old. It was a line car at one time, and now it is actually a parade car. It has numerous things that have been wrong with it. Speedometer has not worked, seat belts, the dash. I took a look at it the other day. There's parts of the dash that are in the trunk on the floorboard. So, a little bit about what the court officers do is they spend the majority of their time, probably 75% of their time in the car, serving warrants, serving subpoenas, transporting prisoners to and from court, going in an 80-mile radius to pick up defendants who've been served with warrants, transporting them back to court. Also with the drug court program, we will be using the car a little bit more with having to transport the participants to and from treatment. And so it will be on the road a little bit more. I did have a discussion with Officer Baker and Officer Gutierrez about the car, and of course, I'm not in law enforcement, so I'm not real familiar with cars and what you need in law enforcement. So Captain Wade with the police department was willing to help me out, and Officer Baker, and they started looking around, and they got in contact with Rob Rogers with Foss, and they found a 2018 Ford Explorer with 882 miles on it, in the amount of $34,000. And so tonight I'm requesting that you approve the purchase of this vehicle, and it will be paid from the police equipment fund.
So it's important to remember, this is a police car being purchased for police officers out of the police budget. There's two vehicles that have not been, that were budgeted for but not filled in that budget. So this is a budgeted expense. You guys just happen to purchase the other ones out of ARPA, so, or approve the other ones out of ARPA. So this enabled them to get rid of kind of the embarrassing safety hazard that the poor guys have been working with and fill that need. And this is a, I don't know, a 5 or 6, 7-year solution to a 20-year problem, so.
That car was leaving town?
It was not leaving town, it was going around town, and the police department was kind enough to let them borrow another car to go out of town. So it did not leave town, thank goodness. So, yes.
Yeah, and that car is definitely noticeable if you've ever seen that thing.
I think it was geared to be a parade car and maybe not for the court officers. But I realize that the police department has been struggling with having enough vehicles for everyone. So the officers did try to make do with it, but just finding out that it did have a lot of issues. I wasn't aware of it until a little bit later, but, so that's why I guess I'm asking for the approval to get them a vehicle to where that they will be able to do their jobs. And I know it's like a computer is to me, the car is to them. So it's just a tool that I feel like they need to do their job and to perform their job well.
How much was in the budget this year for vehicles out of the police fund? 40? And so this one's coming in at 34?
Gives you enough for a bicycle. Needs you enough for a bicycle.
Really nice place.
There you go. I make a motion, we approve the purchase of a 2018 Ford Explorer for the
Municipal court officers?
municipal court officer, for the amount of $34,000 coming out of
Police equipment fund.
police equipment fund.
I'll second.
From Boss Ford. Thank God for the attorney.
All right, so we have a.
Don't do that
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or questions for Kim or anyone else?
You made his day.
All right, all those in favor? All right, 5-0, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Kim. All right, item number 13, fire department ladder truck purchase. Kelly.
Mayor, Commissioners, good evening.
Can we get this one for
Since,
$34,000?
since we're in the mood to buy vehicles.
Plus 1.4.
We should have let you go first.
Let me give you a little brief back history here. This is an opportunity for ladder truck replacement that I think we should consider. Our ladder truck is a 1995 Pierce 105-foot platform, very specialized piece of equipment. It's the only one our city has. It has, when I became chief 14 years ago, it was only 13 years old, and in my fleet analysis, I thought this truck should easily get us to 30 years. In hindsight, the last 5, it's limping to the finish line, it really is. So 27 years old now. Again, with this type of truck, to replace it is not just something you go buy off the rack. It takes a spec and bid process to buy it, time to build it. For example, the build time on the one that I've proposed to you tonight is 600 days to even get it built. And I have always been told in my time as chief that when it came time to replace that, we'd be looking at $1.4 to $1.7 million, somewhere in that neighborhood, to replace the truck. So go back to last year, when this truck came on our radar in the 5-year capital equipment replacement program, that's when we started looking at all options and started to put together a spec and bid committee to build a specification for the truck that we need. You may remember we went down to Tulsa last year. They were going to do some surplus vehicles, and we looked at an E1 Bronto, I believe it was, and it didn't fit the bill. And at that time, I think we received consensus from the commission in order to be responsive enough to get this truck replaced, that if we stumbled across opportunities that we could come back to you and make a proposal to it. This year at the State Firefighters Conference, Deputy Chief Polton and Captain Tyson Rice were there and spoke with the Rosenbauer dealer, and he advised us that they were going to be building, Rosenbauer would be building a lot of demo trucks in the next couple of years, about 100, I believe it was, that they were talking about. And at the time, he told us we might be able to get a pretty decent replacement ladder truck for right around $1 million, somewhere around there. So well below my projected cost of this vehicle. And but I think what we underestimated was how fast these things would be snapped up, because cities like us have all this ARPA money, different funding sources, and they're in the same boat as us needing to replace these. So they are snapping these trucks up. So when we finally got to the point where we're ready to move on it, we're in the position of replacing city manager, and when I get to speak to city manager Varnado about doing this was one of my 4 priorities. We had already lost the opportunity to get those bargain basement trucks, so to speak. So we started working on it in earnest, and Captain Rice contacted them, and we found out that they do have 1 ladder truck left. It was a $1.4 million truck, and just to be honest with you, it's quite a Cadillac of a truck. If we were to sit down around our table at the station and spec out a truck, we probably wouldn't try to spec this truck out. We'd try to spec something a little more conservative to fit the needs of the city. If we were to spec this out, I think it'd be a $1.7, $1.8 million truck that we're trying to buy. But because it's in this demo program, the price is actually below what, or right at the bottom end of what my estimates were. So there's a lot of opportunities for this, a lot of benefit. It's kind of in what the projected replacement price was. It'll get it here early within the time frame that we need to replace the vehicle in. It'll get it here that fast. It can be available for next year. This truck will more than suit the needs of the city of Liberal. I won't be thinking that this will be a 30-year truck when we put it in the fleet. We'll probably give it a projected lifespan of 20 years instead of 30 years. I just don't, the technology on these things moves so fast that this thing will be light years ahead of the one that we have now. So I guess I would entertain any questions that you might have and just present this to you as an opportunity. If we were to go ahead and pursue buying this, we need to get our name on it, sign a contract. It's projected to be ready in January of 2023. I think it is, but with supply issues that they're having, they say that might be another 2 months, March of 2023, before it's ready. As a demo, Rosenbauer reserves the right to travel it around and show it off for up to 6 months. But also speaking with our sales rep for Rosenbauer, they understand that the situation we're in, and they would be willing to negotiate that and maybe cut that back to 2 months before they brought it to us. There's some benefit to that too, having them have it out on the road and putting it through its paces, showing it off to other departments. That will help work out the bugs and any problems with it too.
So you'd be looking at May rather than March, probably at the earliest?
Probably around May or so before we could get to that. The biggest issue is we have to come up with the $1,440,000.
This is Vice Mayor's saddlebag on his back.
Yeah.
I'll write the check.
Just don't cash it till next May.
That's right.
So
So this will be funded through the general fund and the ARPA money, so a combo. I would rather you guys not assign a funding source when you approve it tonight, and just think if
We'll
it,
see where things
yeah.
are
Yeah,
closer to.
but that is the plan right now, is to use a combo of the on-hand cash from the general fund and the ARPA money to complete the purchase.
So when we sign, you say we sign a contract for this, I mean, are we required to put any money on the table?
We don't have to
So
come up
we don't
with
really have to,
anything.
we don't have to
pay
fund this
for-
till we get it?
We pay for it upon delivery. The only thing that we did have to do this week, because it was moving so fast, we did not want to lose this opportunity, is we basically wrote a requisition and issued a purchase order number for $2,500 payment. They would hold it for you for up to 60 days while you made the decision to do that. So we were able to verbally commit to the $2,500, which if we did come through and sign a contract, they'll apply that $2,500 back to the cost of the vehicle. So it was a risk. I feel like it was a good risk to take. Risk $2,500 to possibly save $300,000 on a truck down the road. So we did issue a PO, but speaking with the sales rep again, by the time all this process happens, the check's probably never going to get sent anyway. So
The contracts are on my desk, waiting on you guys to approve it, and I can sign it tomorrow. And sales rep stayed an extra day so he could take the physical
he's here
copy
doing
back.
some work for Seward County, and he would stay until tomorrow to, if we approve this tonight, he'd be prepared to take it back. So.
I can see here you put that the final payment needs to be due at delivery or pickup, so.
Yes.
That gives us until May to figure out how many of the other projects are gonna be done with ARPA, so. Maybe more of it can be funded from there.
I think this is a golden opportunity for our city to get a ladder truck that's gonna carry us 20 years into the future. And I know it's a huge expenditure, but
It is a huge expenditure. So the platform that you have now, the 105-foot ladder truck, this is comparable?
very much so. This is actually probably a better vehicle. Issues with ours, built in 95, when you go out, say you go to National Beef and you try to go to the roof, there's usually a parapet wall around there. So our guys, we get the ladder and we get the bucket down as close as we can. They still have to jump out and jump down about 4 foot to get to the roof. If you saw in the picture of this, it has the articulating final 15 feet, so when you get there, it drops down, and it can actually set the basket on the roof, so the guys are in and out. This truck, I mean, it's a demo model, but it's gonna more than exceed any specification that we would need for what we use it for here in Louisville.
So this would let you preserve your ISO rating, right?
Absolutely, this would. And I don't know what value the other ladder truck has. It has value to us as a city in that if we just park it and don't put people on the ladder, it's getting to be where we can't certify the ladder. It could still serve a purpose as an elevated master stream should we have a major, say, downtown fire or a commercial fire, where you can get a second stick in the air and just flow water through without putting people up in the basket. All that means when you certify the ladders, you're taking a risk if you put people up there that you could have a catastrophic failure of the ladder because the metal gets fatigued over time.
Right.
That's a huge lever when it's 105 feet in the air at a 70-degree angle, too.
Plus with men and all their equipment on there. that's
Yeah,
not
and you
light.
put two guys in there, we basically build in a safety factor of 3, but, easily you put 500 pounds in that basket, and then you're flowing 100 pounds of water, 1,500 gallons a minute, putting back stress on it, so.
Right now, how much repair are you having to do on that truck?
We pump tested it this year. It passed pump test one day, the next day it wouldn't start. So we worked on it that day while we were doing training with the high school kids. We ended up buying some valves and getting it back running. We had an issue a couple years ago with the front axle, that one of the wheel ends went bad. And being that old a truck, we finally found a wheel end through Freightliner, and Matt Friedrich was here at the time. He's one of our volunteer firefighters. He found that wheel end and we put it on, but they don't even make the parts for that axle anymore. So for us to put a new front axle under that truck, Pierce would have to go back and re-engineer a 1995 truck and special build an axle to put under that. Just the engineering on it's $2,500, and then the axle would be around another $20,000. So if that other wheel end goes bad, we might have a disabled ladder truck. So I hate to say it, it's a necessary piece of equipment, but we're doing our best to baby it along, to try to get it to, if we wanted to stay within our 5-year capital replacement plan, we'll just try to meet the goal, try to hit the target, so to speak. But if we can beat that, and I think this is a golden opportunity to do that, I feel like we should.
So the last thing we'll add is, this has no proprietary parts. You tell me, you can, go ahead.
I'm glad you said that. One of the things that Rosenbauer does, and one of their biggest selling points is, for example, our Pierce, when we need a part for that, we call Oshkosh, Wisconsin. They send it to Conrad Fire Equipment in Kansas City and send it to us. And Pierce owns that part. With Rosenbauer, one of the things that they pride themselves on is there are very few parts on that truck that you can't go to your local truck shop and buy the part and do the repairs here in town as well. And the other reason, none of the other vendors that we're aware of, and Tyson's researched this, Smeal, Pierce, I don't think anybody else is doing a demo build like this, because Rosenbauer's kind of the up and coming. They're probably one of the leaders in the industry right now. That's why they're doing this. So Rosenbauer's a good company. Both of our frontline engines, engine 16, engine 17, are Rosenbauer trucks. So they're a quality company, and they're kind of the leaders in the field right now.
Any other questions?
Motion?
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion, we authorize city manager and fire chief to enter into a contract with Rosenbauer for an RMN King Cobra aerial, job number 75306, in a specific amount of $1,440,002. And the funding for this purchase
To be determined.
will be determined.
Second.
second.
Time and delivery.
3 seconds.
And 3 seconds, 3 are good to go.
Did someone second? I didn't catch it. 3 of
We all
us
did.
did. 3 of you did.
Just
All
pick
right,
one.
all right. Second, third, and fourth.
All right.
So we have a motion and seconds. Any further discussion?
No.
All right, all those in favor? All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Kelly.
I do have one other thing. When it comes time to hammer out all of the funding, Deputy Chief Polton has offered to pay the $2 on the end.
Nice.
Maybe right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Can I pay 3?
That concludes our business action item.
Okay, good. Items from city staff.
Skeety's bringing
Skeety,
us
okay,
$2
sorry, I didn't
up.
see
He's gonna
you
pay in
move, Skeety.
advance.
The looks I always get from Kelly when I walk up here are just awesome. Just on behalf of our department, thank you. Our trucks are some of our most important equipment, and our guys depend on those every day. So just on behalf of our department, thank you. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kelly's back.
Two quick things. Yesterday, we did the Task Force 6 trench rescue training out at the airport, at the Air Museum. We had 13 from out of town, from Dodge and Garden City, from the task force. They trained from 9 o'clock yesterday morning till 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Got a tremendous amount of assistance from other city departments. Brian at the airport, appreciate you giving us the space and letting us dig holes on your property. Jose has left, but Jose Rosales in the water department, they brought the backhoe out and dug for us. Bob Emmel from the Air Museum gave us the meeting room to do the classroom portion of the training, and yesterday they're closed. It's his day off, but he stayed out there with them the whole day. And Skeety and, well, just Skeety, I think, grilled hamburgers and hot dogs for them, fed the guys while they were here. So it was nice of us to be able to host firefighters from Dodge City and Garden City to come out and do some pretty good quality specialized rescue training yesterday. And then the second thing, my favorite holiday is bearing down on us. I've had lots of questions about fireworks, and we've been real fortunate weather-wise here in the last couple of weeks. I was really worried back late May and early June with as hot and dry as it was, but we've had some nice cool days. We've had some intermittent rains that have greened things up enough to kind of lessen the severity of the drought that we're in. Things are still kind of dry out there, but as far as I'm concerned with fireworks for this year, for 2022, all systems are go. They were able to start selling on the 27th, and then our shoot days here in Liberal that we allow according to our ordinance are the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th. They're allowed to shoot from 8 to 11 on the 3rd, 8 to midnight on the 4th, and the 5th is kind of built in as a rain day or to help get rid of all those half-price fireworks that they buy up at the end of the day on the 5th. So, just looking forward to it. It can be a great holiday for everyone as long as everybody plays by the rules. The biggest complaint we get at the fire department is they popped way into the night and I had to get up the next day and go to work, and they heard it for the whole week, and people are just worn slick by it by the end of a week. But, if everybody would just shut it down at 11 or 12 for those 3 days, go out and really enjoy yourselves, be careful, be respectful of your neighbors, and make it a great and safe holiday.
What were those hours again on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th?
8 to 11 on the 3rd, and the 5th, 8 to midnight on the 4th. When I say that, it almost seems like we should have just went 8 to midnight all 3 days, just for ease of that. But
Well, and I saw an article in the paper from Captain Wade talking about enforcement of the fireworks, the rules that we have established, and don't envy either department than the next week.
It's pins and needles, like a cat in a room full of rocking chairs on the
Right.
4th of July. But, and tomorrow morning, I'll be on live from Broadcast Square talking about the fireworks too. I got bumped by elected officials today.
Sorry. I took a swap.
But I'll be on Broadcast Square to help get the word out again tomorrow.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Kelly. Bruce?
So, while Bruce is making his way, so Cody, correct me, we have a accurate code footprint that we are happy with. By we meaning
Oh, hallelujah.
Cody is happy, so I'm happy. And that is ready to go to the state fire marshal for final approval, so we can finally move forward once we get that.
That's exciting.
So
That's good.
Thank
I really
you.
appreciate the effort that they put in, Earl's put in, and I forget the architect's name, Charles Wren. So getting that ready to move forward.
Good.
That's exciting.
Yeah. Any other staff? Yes.
Hi, I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Tara. I'm the new supervisor at the animal shelter. I just want to kind of let everybody know we're doing our best I know everybody complains about all the dogs running all over town. We're down to one ACO right now, and it's me, and then we just hired a guy to clean. So just bear with us. Let us know where the hot spots are. We'll do our best to get them taken care of. If you see a dog at large and you can secure it, great, call me, I'll come get it in my own car if I have to. But just letting you guys know we're working on it, I promise.
Great. Thank you.
You're
And I know
welcome.
during this holiday, it does pick up as well, because they will
Yeah.
run to get away.
Last Saturday and Sunday in 2 days, the PD brought in 11 dogs. And then 7 on Monday and 5 more today.
And those with registered owners or something?
I wish. But we are doing a microchip campaign this week, and I think we've done microchips on, they brought in 3, 4, 5, 6, probably 8 or 10 in the last 2 days. So that does help. But we've got 3 right now that are in the shelter, they're microchipped. You call the owner. The owner's like, yeah, I don't want it anymore, just keep it. So now you have to figure out, are we, able to adopt it? Are we able to, rescues are full. So I've got only 2 leaving this week right now to rescues, and I think it's been probably close to 2 weeks since I've had anybody even adopt a dog. So we're getting at the point where you're just trying to figure out how to shuffle with the kennels you have. But I promise we're trying. That's what I wanted to let you know.
Well, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And it is improving, because 2 weeks ago she was crying, now she's smiling, so.
All right, anybody else? All right, city manager's report, item number 15.
The only additional thing is the budget is going well. The staff is turning their sheets into Chris for the initial cut. He and I will start going through those hopefully next week. And we're on target to do the R&R hearing on the
12th.
Okay, on the 12th at the next meeting. Remember, that is just, I don't want to call it a formality, but that is a formality, so don't get scared if you see a big number, because we have no intention of asking for a big number. But just to be safe, it is good business to do the R&R hearing, so. But other than that, unless you have questions for me, things are moving well.
Thanks, Rusty. Okay, number 16, items from commissioners. You want to,
I was late today, I'll just pass.
okay.
I will go ahead and pass today as well.
All right.
I just want to say thank you to everybody who continues to show up to our commission meetings. We really do appreciate you taking time out of your day. One of us has a radio interview on July 11th. Does anybody remember? Was it you? Okay, at 9 a.m. And then we do have a physician candidate coming out. You guys are all invited. That's going to take place on July 12th, which we'll have a meeting. But if our meeting is over on time, then we can come out. And then other than that, I got invited to speak at 2 conferences, one with Governor Laura Kelly. And so it's just really exciting when they invite our commission from Southwest Kansas just to make a presence out on the east side of the state. So just want to say thank you to the organizations. That's it.
Okay, thanks. Chris?
I guess I'll be on the radio on the 11th.
Yes.
That's all I got.
Okay. We had a housing summit yesterday, which I thought went well. That's one of the, if not the biggest problem we face, our housing stock here in town. So there's a group that came together to begin to work on that. That's probably won't be any quick solutions coming out of that, but at least it's being addressed by a community-wide, a county-wide actually group. So I was excited about that. So, thanks to staff. I know you guys work hard. We really appreciate it. Don't say it near enough. But we appreciate the jobs that you guys do.
And everybody appreciated the barbecue last week. That was very kind and appreciated by the staff.
All right, nothing else. We'll go to vouchers. Item number, should be 17 on here, I guess.
I'll make a motion, we approve the
We
vouchers.
have a but here.
A but, huh?
Sorry, Commissioner. just to let everybody know, I distributed paper copies of revised vouchers for tonight's meeting. Apologize for the paper, but it actually did save a little bit over $105,000 off of the total. Essentially, when the agenda items were due, we had a trouble call in to our software company, and they, we needed to get vouchers out. So by the time they resolved that issue, it did come up with a less dollar total of vouchers. So just wanted to bring that to the commission's attention, and
So print them every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I prefer them that way.
So we
anyway.
don't have to be like this.
Can we do it?
Yeah, you do it, I can't see it now.
Okay. I make a motion we approve the vouchers for $1,731,151.55.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Thank you for finding $100,000, Chris. All those in favor? All right. Motion passes 5-0. I think we are adjourned. Thank you.